Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a splendid new, well, more or less new recording of CPE Bach's Hamburg Symphonies, the 6 symphonies for string orchestra that he wrote for Baron von Swieten. Von Swieten, who wrote the librettos to Haydn's oratorios and told Mozart to reorchestrate Handel and was sort of hanging around in Vienna. Then he was at this point, he was ambassador to Hamburg, I think, actually. But he was a mover back in the day, and he said to CPE Bach, he said, "Hey, CPE, I want to commission you to write a batch of symphonies for me, and you can do anything you want. Just go crazy." Well, that was definitely the thing to say to CPE Bach, who was ready to go crazy, and he did. These are incredible pieces. There is nothing like them in the entire 18th century. They are exciting and unpredictable and expressively wide-ranging and harmonically surprising. And, oh my gosh, they're just marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. And they are very, very well played here by the Arte de Suonatori, under Marcin Światkiewicz. Now, they are actually doing all the CPE Bach symphonies, and I promised to do this because I'd already reviewed the second volume in this series, the Berlin Symphonies, which was absolutely excellent, really excellent. There's another volume of Berlin Symphonies coming, and then hopefully they'll do the last batch, the symphonies with 12 obbligato parts, or whatever they're called, with wind parts. I mean, they really are remarkable works. There are only 18 of them. He mostly wrote, when he wrote for orchestra, keyboard concertos, of which there are 50-ish or something like that. So the symphonies are kind of rarities, but they are amazing, absolutely amazing pieces. And these are beautiful performances on bis, very, very well recorded. And not only do you get the 6 symphonies, because they're really short, they're 3 movements each, fast, slow, fast. And they last like 10 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that. I mean, they're not very long. So, there's room for other stuff. So what we get here is an 84-minute CD in which the symphonies are interspersed with keyboard fantasias. C.P. Bach was an amazing improviser, and these fantasias represent sort of written down improvisations that he did. And I have to give Światkiewicz credit. He mixes up forte piano with harpsichord and all that stuff, so you've got some variety in terms of the sonority of the keyboard instruments, which is just wonderful, actually. And there's one here that he actually improvises himself for 2 minutes, which sounds quite CPE Bachian. So good for him. It's really a wonderful disc. Most other recordings of the symphonies only have the 6 Hamburg Symphonies, which is fine. I mean, as far as they go. My favorite recording of the Hamburg Symphonies remains the one on Hensler, which uses a forte piano continuo, because I suggested it. So it's I'm biased. What can I tell you? I freely admit it. No, actually, if I had to criticize this in any way, shape, or form, my only thought is that, as is so often the case with these period instrument productions, you really need more strings. It just needs a larger body of instruments, I think, to make the contrasts even more vivid and more telling. Because I think that C.E. Bach was a composer of big gestures. And while you can play these pieces, and they play very well, unlike, for example, Christopher Hogwood did these, and some of the earlier period instrument group did it. And in those days, particularly 20 years ago or so, the string sections were not only tiny, but they were intonationally challenged. And it seems as though they've relaxed a little bit concerning the vibrato issue, hopefully, so that they can make a warmer and more attractive string sound corporately, even when the forces are small. I mean, all of these things matter. And so the more recent recordings of these works, and there have been quite a few, that have been really very, very good on period instruments, they sound so much better. Just playing them in tune sounds so much better. And they're tricky. they're tricky pieces. So they require a certain level of virtuosity and control, and they get them here. So if you want to get with the Fantasias, and it's just a beautiful recording of fantastic, amazing music that everybody should hear and enjoy, because they are, they're just remarkable pieces, full of personality and character, and so not ordinary. And when you talk about music from the late Baroque or early classical period, it's, Rococo or whatever it was, Galant, you usually think of stuff that's just like pleasant. It's nice, and it doesn't shake you up in any particular way. This will get your heart racing, and that was really CPE Bach's point, that music should do that, and do it a lot. And he didn't feel he had as much of an opportunity to do it as much as he wanted to, but here, thanks to Baron von Swieten, he was able to. And the performances reflect that. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.